What's up everyone, Josh here from Alternative Brewing, and with me today is the Sanremo YOU Espresso machine. This is one of those machines that is out there in a lot of ways. First up, the machine is nudging on almost 10,000 Australian dollars. That's right. And I've probably just gone and lost 70% of my viewers shopping for a new machine. But certainly at this price bracket, the Sanremo YOU stands out as one of those top contenders for the end game home espresso machine. And there are certain features on this machine that easily place it within the top 2 or 3. Now, taking a quick step back and talking about the end game, I know I just used the phrase, but honestly, I think that's a bit of a myth because the game is constantly getting new levels and the next best machine to be released will be the end game. Sanremo's biggest challenge with the YOU will be how fast they can update and keep the firmware and this user interface, which is the shining gem on the crown of this machine, relevant to the consumer. What I love about this machine, and for those of you perhaps like me that get excited about machines like this, is that they inspire you to continue to experiment and improve upon brewing better and better coffee. And I spent more than 3 years working in cafes on an LM Strata EP, so for all intents and purposes, from my experience, the YOU is 100% commercial grade and it is built like a tank. It's certainly designed by a designer, as I would not have dreamt up a machine that looks quite like this, and I think we can all agree aesthetics are a personal thing, and yes, I do love the look of this machine. I personally feel like it borrows a lot of elements that are hallmarks of other great machines that I've worked on, like perhaps Van der Key's Spirit-like levers for the hot water and steam applications, and certainly the shape of the body and definitely the weight, I might add. Then there's the Synesso-like steam wand, welcomely cool to touch. And while we're at it, throw in the LM GS3 or Slayer-like paddle activity, and there you have the YOU. Although whilst I have mentioned the YOU's hefty price, it is still the cheapest in that niche of electronic manual pressure profiling machines found for the home espresso market. And Sanremo are not new to this realm and have been manufacturing machines just like this that turn heads and make you reassess how to brew coffee time and time again. Now, if you're just getting into espresso, this machine is like a Bugatti Veyron, while a single boiler, humble espresso machine is your predictable Toyota Corolla. And just to be clear here, a decent is more like a Tesla Model S. And there is value in that. Now, I'm not a car nut myself, but I do feel like almost everyone gets car analogies. Am I wrong? But enough with all of that. I don't think we have any more time or attention span to be dealing with any more car comparisons. What I want to do for you is make my daily brews and explain how I've tailored the Sanremo to get the absolute best out of it for me. And I'll cover off the specs as we go and certainly talk about what I love and what I don't love about this machine. Let's go. Alright, so I have a long black and a latte to make every morning for me and my partner. And me being the long black drinker, I prefer to uncover new flavors, often searching out different single origin beans and certainly chasing those brighter and fruitier notes. Whereas my partner, well, she's not really going to complain as I make her coffee every morning. No, jokes aside, it's never stopped me from trying to make the best damn latte I can for her. So cue some single origin beans and a tasty, reliable blend. Now, I wake up at 5 AM every morning, and I love the fact that on the Sanremo, you can set this machine to turn on and off automatically with 3 times throughout a single day. So for me, I'm getting this machine to turn on at 4:45 and be ready when I wake up. Though yes, you could well just turn this machine on as you get up, as it is super quick to warm up to get to temperature, and there is a 500 watt element heating a 500 ml brew boiler and a 1500 watt element heating a 1 litre steam boiler. Both extremely efficient, and they're both made from a very high quality stainless steel. Now, there is a scenario here where my partner may not be feeling like a coffee in the day. And I can certainly well turn the steam boiler off to save energy, as well as not having to listen to that particular boiler cycling on and off through its PID control of the temperature inside the boiler. And a quick note on PID here, I love that on the Sanremo, you have full control of both the boiler temperature and the steam pressure from the main menu where it is very intuitive. Steam pressure, I can program all the way to 2 bars of pressure, which is extremely high, and this results in possibly the best steam on any home espresso machine I've reviewed, and there is almost 50% more pressure than a regular espresso machine at 1.4 to 1.5 bars of pressure. And whilst we're talking setup, I would first usually check that I have enough water in the 2.5 litre water tank, though you can also plumb the Sanremo YOU in, which I probably would do if this were my machine. And then checking everything is up to temperature, you can view this through the digital readout on the display. And there is another screen, which is sort of a diagram of when the boilers are in their heating or cooling off modes. And of course, all of this that can be done on the screen can also be viewed and programmed through the use of Sanremo's connectivity app. This is where your machine is connected to the local Wi-Fi, and then you can use your mobile device as a controller to change all of the settings. So while I prepare the first group handle, let's talk about accessories. Sanremo have a great set of accessories that come with you. And specifically, I'm talking about the filter baskets. There is a 16, a 20, and what I believe is like a 22 to 24 gram basket. There's also a metal blind filter basket as well, which is always a bonus when it comes to cleaning a machine, and also a double and a single spouted portafilter, a barista cloth, a milk jug, a cleaning brush, and what you would need to plumb this machine in. Now for this milk-based drink, I'm going to be working off of a very standard 20 grams in, 40 grams out, using 9 bars of pressure and brewing somewhere for as long as 27 to 30 seconds. And there are a few ways that you can activate this very stereotypical brew recipe on the Sanremo YOU. So if I were still wanting to manually control my shot time, I can begin by tapping the manual brew button, which is M in the display screen. Or another way is to take that manual paddle from the one side all the way over to the other as far as it will go. And either of these two ways will brew to the full maximum pressure set within the machine until you either then tap the M button again or move that paddle back to its beginning position to stop the shot. And these are pretty standard here, and there's really nothing to write home about. The last way to brew is from the main menu using the profile options. And there are profile options 1, 2, and 3 set within the display. And you can set this 1, 2, or 3 from a list of 6 standard profiles. Each of these 6 differ that little bit in their pre and post infusions, pressures, and time allotted. You can't change those times or pressures, however you can change the volume of the water that the profiles brew out. However, if you do want more control, there are a further 12 customizable profiles where you do have that ability to then adjust everything yourself. For instance, I'm just going to go with a straight 9 bars here, and I've got that custom profile renamed to 9 bars, 40 mils with no pre or post infusion. And this I'm going to set as my main menu option 1. So when I do want to replicate that same recipe using my partner's coffee, all I need to do is lock my group handle in, hit that 1 button from the main menu, and it will brew to that volume of the espresso following my profile and also stop the shot automatically. And I would say this is my preferred method for milk-based drinks, and especially if you're entertaining a lot of guests. As with the YOU being a dual boiler, you're then able to begin steaming the milk even before the shots have finished. Now, a quick purge of the steam wand, and this is another great feature that you can turn on and off in the settings. And to quickly note here also that steaming turns on really quickly. So if you're not quite yet a milk slinger, you can dial that pressure back somewhere around the 1.5 to 1.6 bars of pressure, so it's not as forceful within the steam whilst you're steaming your milk. So with that very basic or straightforward espresso profile, I have demonstrated the 3 ways that you can activate a shot on the Sanremo YOU. And we'll now brew an espresso for my long black. But just before we do that, I do want to touch back on 2 important settings that I have mentioned. When I talked about taking the paddle all the way from one side to the other, I have mine set from right to left, as that's what feels natural to me. However, it can be set from left to right as well. And also when you use that paddle and take it as far as it can go to the opposite side, you will be brewing at the maximum pressure set within the machine, and this you have control over. Now, I have my machine set at a maximum 9 bars, but it could well be set to the maximum 12 bars that this machine is capable of. Or, interestingly enough, if you're only really into low pressure brewing, then the max of this machine could be set to 6 bars. And that's really up to you and how you set the U. And it's kind of like getting a new smartphone, where you do want to spend the time understanding what settings are within here so you can kind of tailor it to your needs. Let's dive into my coffee now. So I'll begin by adding water into my cup, and the use water tap is absolutely fantastic, where you can program the amount of time that the water dispenses so you get that same amount into the same cup each time. As well, you can adjust the temperature of the water with a percentage mix of fresh cold water from the water tank and hot water coming from the pre-group head boiler to get that perfect temperature that you're after, and then you're not having to deal with any of that piping hot water coming from your steam boiler. Now, my options for teasing out flavor in the espresso with pressure profiling, because that's what we're all here for with the Sanremo YOU, goes a little bit like this. I can have a linear, low or high pressure profile by hitting this manual M button and have set the maximum pressure that's anything but 9 bars. And then you'll be brewing espresso that you can't achieve on 95% of the other machines on the market. Or you can use a pressure profile, whether it's one of the 6 Sanremo profiles or a customizable profile where you're then adding your preferred pre-infusion time and pressure, your total brew pressure, and then your post-infusion pressure and time, and then I would add the volume of water I wanted to dispense, and I would save this as my long black profile. Set this as my number 2 option from the main menu, and then I would be good to go to start my shot, and it will run through its profile and stop automatically. And yes, finally, the third and absolutely the most adventurous way to brew espresso on any machine is by full manual paddle pressure profiling. And here you're going to hear the multi-speed rotary vane pump respond as you use this sliding paddle to manually adjust the pressure on the fly. And Sanremo have really got you covered here in the context of the readouts in the display, where it displays what pressure the paddle has stopped on. So this is the eventual pressure that the pump will reach. As there is a small lag in time whilst the machine aims to that pressure, which is great, as then you have that window to make those small adjustments if you go a little bit over or a little bit under what you are aiming for. There's also that real-time pressure readout, so you can see the pressure as it's rising in the puck, and again adjust if you need. You can also watch the mils per second and the shot time if you have this as a priority. And also there are in fact a few other windows to get readouts from to allow you to follow the progress throughout the shot. So when managing your pre-infusion, you could choose to do a slow ramp up of pressure or a long hold at a low pressure. And then from there, take it all the way up to your desired full brewing pressure, however you want to reach that. You can take that in steps or go straight there. And then when it comes to the end of the shot, you could turn it straight off or use some sort of post-infusion, like a ramp down or a slow decrease in the pressure to stop the shot. And from here, if you successfully ran a great shot and you want to replicate that manual profile from the main menu next time, all you need to do is hit the star button in the middle of the P and M on the display to save this on top of one of your customizable profiles. And here we can just then name that Manual Paddle 1 profile and then add this as your number 3 option from the main menu again. And I've set the Sanremo up now for my particular run of drinks. And I have those 3 quick profiles that I'll use, one being a standard 9-bar espresso profile, the second being that variation of a pre and post fusion 9-bar shot, and the third being that very different long, low pre-infusion, low brew pressure, and long drawn out post extraction profile. And I absolutely love that though I have these 3 profiles that I'm really happy with, anytime that I feel like I need to change things up, there is an endless playground of profiles or ways I can brew my espresso using the manual paddle. And certainly profiles will not always act in the way that you hope they will, as they're not completely set and forget, as we need to remember that the beans themselves that we're brewing with, these are always changing. They're always getting older. Or if you change the roast, the origin, the brand, the grind of the grinder, this is also a parameter we need to remember, as this will affect how the profile reacts as well. And yes, adjusting the brew temperature, the brew pressure, the brew time, the volume that you brew out, these are all ways to discover and unlock more flavors within the beans. Now, speaking of experience with pressure profiling, this is a little bit of a deep dive as well. What quite often happens with manual paddling is that regular grind adjustments almost become a thing of the past. Now, I say almost because with most espresso machines, you're limited to a certain window of contact time when brewing espresso. And the machine will force water through the bed of coffee at a constant 9 bars, so you use grind size to generally slow down or speed the extraction up. With the Sanremo YOU, you have separate control over how fast the water is pushed through the bed of coffee, and in this way, it addresses your speed of extraction. So take pre-infusion for example. Here you might be able to do a very long and low pressure pre-infusion to get those grounds in the basket fully saturated, where you might end up with minimal channeling and also maximize the effectiveness that the water has on the extraction when you reach your full pressure. And the remarkable aspect here is that it doesn't compromise on the quality of the extraction. In fact, it often leads to an improved extraction without any degradation on the taste or the quality, sometimes the texture. But you're also maintaining a standard brew recipe. So say at 20 grams in, 40 grams out in 27 seconds. And when you're at 9 bars of pressure and could be heavily over extracting the coffee in that small amount of window of 3 seconds, I'm now able to say reduce the pressure once that puck begins losing mass, and then you'll see the shot begin to run faster, which it always does. I can now hold off that point of over extraction at lower pressures in post-infusion, whilst continuing to add perhaps more yield or more clarity, sweetness, richness, or even transparency into the espresso. And with low pressure profiling, you can expect generally extended shot times. Not a lot, but a little. However, try adjusting the grind size coarser with low pressure profiling, and you may discover some very sweet and delicate shots this way. Not quite turbo shots, although they're very achievable on the Sanremo YOU, but something that otherwise would be totally out of the realm of using any other espresso machine, as we know what coarse coffee does when using 9 bars of pressure. What else should I tell you about this machine? Oh yeah, some things I don't like. So something I've seen a lot of people speak of is the fan. The fan is a little loud, and it kicks on when everything gets a little bit hot in the interior of the body of the Sanremo YOU. It's not as loud as, say, a machine with a vibratory pump pumping water into the boiler, but it is a low hum that can be distracting within the household. Next, the programmed on and off times. Now these are great, as you can set multiple on and off times within a single day, though it isn't, and this goes for most machines actually, it isn't a full shutdown. Rather, it leaves the machine in a standby mode, possibly still saving power, right? Though there is a screensaver on the display that lights up, and during the night, well, the kitchen's lit up and it's not always ideal. And then there's the drip tray. I would generally plumb this in where possible. The coverage in the tray is fine. It is good, it's been fixed and you can extend that tray out now, but it is the height between the tray and the group head that's almost insufferable. It feels like an 8-ounce coffee max kind of height, and you do struggle to fit a scale on the tray whilst you're brewing. So after that, let's quickly talk some cleaning and we'll wrap it up. From the main menu, there's a great purge or flush of the group head button for every time that you finish a shot. And this is a great feature to have to keep that shower screen nice and clean for back-to-back shots. And then at the end of the day, from the main menu, you can begin an automatic backflush of that group head. And this is a fantastic way to know that your machine is 99% of the time kept nice and clean. And you can walk away and know it's done. as we wrap up this in-depth review of the Sanremo YOU espresso machine, where we've explored its design, the build quality, showcased its exceptional craftsmanship, and we've witnessed its performance and versatility. It is only fair to mention that this level of excellence comes with an investment. And whilst it is worth every penny for a coffee aficionado, this machine may not be for everybody. If you are passionate about coffee and crave that ultimate coffee making experience, like myself, this is a machine that is a true dream come true. And I want to thank Sanremo Australia for setting me up this machine to play with. It does offer unmatched performance with customizable options. I want to thank you for joining me on this adventure that we've had today. And if you've found this review helpful, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to our channel. It helps the algorithm. And certainly if you have any further comments or questions, add them in the comment section down below and I'll get straight back to you. Until next time, happy brewing.